Hey family, it's Shanique. Welcome back. I actually recorded this video like a couple months ago, so I want to still share the process, but I'm also very mindful that I'm actually in a very different place to when this originally happened. But I'm going to take you back because I do feel that it's an important part of this journey that is ever evolving and just flowing constantly. So I am no longer teaching English online. I was working with one company called Twenix, and they actually let me go. I think it was in February now. I don't want to spend too long going through the ins and outs of why it happened. I do feel like it was completely unfair. Basically with Twenix, they have certain levels that you have to meet, and they expect for your, in terms of reviews that you get from your students, they expect you to maintain a 4.8 average in terms of review. Anytime you drop anything less than 4.8, as far as they're concerned, you're in trouble. And they're sending out warnings and putting you on their watch list. And if you don't improve, then we're going to reduce your timetable. We may remove you from the platform. And it's 4.8. When you think about when you leave reviews on Amazon, or if you're reviewing a service, a 4.8 is a fantastic review. It's really good, right? 4.7, still great review. If I'm leaving a review and it's a 4.7, I'm not complaining per se. For me, it might not be perfect, but it's mostly good. So imagine now, as a teacher, you're being told at 4.7 you're not good enough. It's really, really demoralizing. And this happened, we would talk, I would see, 20, 30 students a week. And it would be one or two students that ranked me lower. Then I might have one student that gave me a 3-star, and for some reason there wasn't a connection there. Especially with Twenix, you're allocated students randomly, so students can't favorite you and pick you as a teacher, so you really never know who you're going to end up with, and you're not going to connect with absolutely everyone. And so I did have a couple of students that gave me a 3-star, for example, and that would be what brought me down to a 4.7, or I got a 4.6 one time. Literally, that's what we're talking about. I got 4.6 and I got 4.7, and as far as Twenix were concerned, that's basically enough to say you're not good enough to be on our platform. I understand having high standards, and they are one of the better platforms. I genuinely enjoyed working with Twenix, and I like the way that the platform is organized and structured. I genuinely enjoyed working with the students. They do pay a little bit more than a lot of the other platforms, and I feel like they use that as an excuse to justify their high standards and why they expect you to remain at this level. The other thing is if you miss a lesson, and I think that happened 2 times, because they also have this last minute feature where you can kind of switch on when you're available to take on a lesson at the last available moment, literally say 15 minutes before the class is about to start. And I think I had that feature switched on a couple of times, but I might have been so busy with the kids and playing and completely forgot that I had last minute switched on and missed a lesson. And I completely understand that students are paying, and it's reputation, and it does look bad when teachers miss a lesson. But again, I missed 2 lessons out of a whole year. And as far as they were concerned, that was enough to just say, yep, we're done with you, basically. So it was really frustrating. I was quite upset by it, because teaching is a huge part of our income. We do thankfully have multiple sources of income, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to remind you, this is why you need to have multiple sources of income, especially when we're talking about something like teaching English online, when you're most likely going to be working with companies that are not based in your home country, so you're not subject to the laws, the working and labour laws of your home country. Things don't, so like notice periods that we would have in the UK that don't really exist in other countries, or you're not subject to them, so they can literally just at a moment's notice say, we're terminating your contract and you're no longer gonna work with us. And that's essentially what happened. And then we're essentially talking about like over £1,000 a month is just cut from my income. And I also made a very rookie mistake. I always say this to people: never work for only one company with teaching online. You should never ever solely rely on one company, because they do this. A number of companies will just suddenly decide that they don't want you anymore because maybe you made one mistake, or they just prefer, like a lot of companies just prefer to keep their rota like fresh, and they want new people on the platform. There's a whole load of things. I always say, like, I feel like teaching is a great route into working online. It's an easy route into working online if you have no idea how to do it. However, there are so many things that you need to be mindful of and you need to prepare for, just in case things do go left and you end up £1,000 a month down, which again is why I'm grateful that we have other streams of income. AJ also teaches on a couple of platforms. I do digital products, affiliate marketing. I have other things which I'm grateful for. However, like, losing £1,000 a month is a big deal, and it was not easy at all. But I also felt like I was saying to AJ, I felt like it was time, like almost like I was being kicked out of the boat. Like, I've been teaching since 2020 and it's been cool and it's great, but I do think there are other things that I'm supposed to be focused on. And since 2020, actually 2020 itself was a great year for us, but subsequent years after that were really, really challenging. AJ ended up in hospital. I ended up getting pregnant with Amal, which was not planned at all. So we had a few life curveballs which we really hadn't planned for, and that kind of sent us in a bit of a spin. And if I'm honest, like, we're just recovering from all of that now. So this is like another knock-on. It was like another knock-on effect, and I was like, you know what, I feel like this is also telling me, like, it's time to get out of the boat. Like, we've got too comfortable just like doing the minimum needed, and no, it's time to like take things to the next level. Also, it's the fact that this happens to coincide with the fact that I am turning 40 in like 4 months time as well. So all the things are happening, all the things are coming up, and as upsetting as it was, it also felt necessary to, maybe I'm not supposed to teach. Maybe I'm not supposed to be teaching anymore. That's one of the main lessons I took from this. And another little side note to say, I am okay now. I was looking for some other teaching positions. I'll talk about this in another video, but I got accepted to teach for, I think, 3 other companies. I started teaching with one that promised that they would, I'd be fully booked and it'd be easy because I'm a native English speaker, and that was not the case at all. Like, I made maybe like $100 in a month with that company. I got accepted to another 2 that actually paid a lot more, and I was ready to sign with those 2, and I essentially turned both of them down. I felt they were asking for too much. Like, again, this is the other thing with teaching English online. Like, it's cool, but sometimes I'm like, they think you're a literal classroom teacher and you're going to be doing planning outside of lessons and sending all these messages to the students. I am not. I am not. Even if it's $15, $16 an hour, I am not. So for a couple of them, I just said no. Like I went through the process, did the training, was ready to sign the contract, and then like going through the training and seeing how much they were asking of you, and I was just like, nope. So that left me in a bit of a limbo as to what now? What do I do now? What happens next? Which I'm going to talk about in another video. But I say this to say, teaching English is a great way to start, but for a lot of people who want to get into working from anywhere and moving abroad, it is a means to an end, and you have to remember that. You have to stay focused on what you're really wanting to do. And I'm like, for me now, I feel like I need a bit of a distraction. Like FroFamilyTravels is a source of income for us, and it's taken over a huge chunk of my life, which I like, but I also don't like at the same time. I never wanted to do FroFamily purely for the money, and like, don't get it twisted, like, I don't make that much from FroFamilyTravels. It's probably actually one of my like smallest incomes. However, it's an income nonetheless. But I don't want it to be about the money, because it's a genuine passion project. And you know, sometimes when you start to focus on the money side of things, that you often forget the reason why you started. And I feel like that started to happen with FroFamily, because people started to ask for more. They wanted more training, more support, more workshops, and which was great. But then it's like, now I'm chasing like workshops and getting people into webinars, and it's fun to a certain extent. I do enjoy it, but I feel like it's also becoming something that I didn't originally plan, didn't originally want, essentially. And or not that I wanted to focus on that side. I like the connection, I like sharing stories, and I've got more into just planning webinars. And I want to do both. I want to do it all, but from a place of, this is what works for us, and this is our story, and I want to share what works, and you know, how we've been able to curate this life, and how you can too. So I then basically took that to mean I needed a little bit of a positive distraction from FroFamily. I needed FroFamily to go back to purely being a side hustle, just a little something that I do because it's fun, and it's a passion project, and whatever happens with it, but I'm not thinking about it financially. That's where I need FroFamily to go back to. So what is the main thing now? And I thought, you know, all right, let me put more effort into teaching, and it's not that anymore. It's not that. And honestly, I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what was going to happen next. And so I spent, like, I was ready to sign on the dotted line with a new teaching company that basically was guaranteeing like 20 hours a week or something, 20 to 30 hours a week. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. I'm going to pause there, and I will share what happened next in another video, because it's all kind of wild actually. But yeah, that's one life update. I'm not a teacher. I'm not teaching English anymore. Let me know, are you thinking about teaching English? How do you see teaching? Is it a means to an end for you so that you can build up your business? Is it something that you see yourself doing fully to sustain your life abroad? Let's chat in the comments. All right, family, bye.